So here we have a 55-year-old female with a presentation for tooth number 16. She had a significant amount of decay. She had a restoration that fractured, and we diagnosed her as asymptomatic irreversible pulpitis with normal apical tissues. So what I like about electronic canal pieces or electric canal pieces is that you can slow the burr down. The same one I was using for access, now I'm spinning it at 5,000 RPM just to do my decay removal. Before we start the endo, we need to build up that mesial marginal ridge. So I'm just going to layer on the composite real quick. Here's some Clearfill SE as a bonding agent. And we elected to not use a Toffelmeyer or band to hold in composite. This composite is going to get removed by the restoring dentist during the crown preparation. So let the layering begin. It honestly probably would have been faster to put a simple sectional matrix on, but by the time we got that rubber dam on with that rotated tooth, I just wanted to layer it on the composite and start the endo as quickly as possible. Marginal ridge elevation completed, and we're just going to start the access to the pulp chamber. The tooth is overlapped with the premolar, so it's complicated to see with the regular routine periodical radiograph to see what the pulp chamber looks like. So here we're just using a long surgical round number 4 burr. And the tooth is fairly calcified. However, the use of a microscope aids in access significantly. So now right into the pulp chamber, you can just see it kind of barely drop, and I'm just walking along, removing the overlying pulpal roof. Sometimes you'll see the mirror flip to the side, and what I'm doing is I'm using the length of the burr as a quantitative measure to see how deep I am into the tooth. So this is the distal buccal orifice, the palatal, and the mesial buccal right there. And now we're just going to do some orifice opening quickly with Wave 1 Gold. This tooth was pretty straightforward, just using 6, 8, and 10 K files to get to length and get my working length with my apex locator. And from the 1 red bar on the apex locator, I'm going to subtract 0.5 millimeters. So I still haven't found MB2, and it's likely hidden underneath this calcification. So my idea is to continue cleaning and shaping the 3 main canals that I have, and we'll come back to MB2. So the technique that I've kind of discovered is that if you have the pulp chamber full of irrigant and you run your rotary file in it, you can empty the debris of the flutes in the liquid itself. So you can cycle it 2 to 3 times, and then bring the file out, it'll empty the flutes and go back in without having to get your dental assistant to clean the flutes all the time. So lots of irrigation, that's critical with endo. Irrigate, 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 more irrigation, recapitulation, irrigate, re-irrigate, irrigate.
So we're going to finish instrumenting the mesial buccal canal to length.
So once I get the primary to lengthen all the canals, I will recheck my working length and find that I usually lose half a millimeter to a millimeter depending on the curvature of the canal. And here we're just going to re-tackle taking a look at MB2. I'm not done with this even after obturation, just to make sure. I finish all my canals at a minimum 3506. When I take the Wave 1 Gold medium out, I'm looking for apical debris on the flutes. You can see some there. And if the canal is larger, I will use a hand file to finish the apical third. So we're just checking length of our gutta percha. I'm just doing a little bit of manual irrigation activation technique. And we'll check our working lengths. Use the Endo activator for 30 seconds in each canal for each irrigant that I use, which is sodium hypochlorite and Q-mix. So we're just about completed drying, and I'm taking another look at the pulpal floor. I'm still not happy with not finding MB2. I use BC sealer and a hydraulic condensation technique, so I'm just placing BC sealer in the coronal third of the canals. I take a 15 file to break any possible air bubble underneath it, and then we'll place my cones. Take a working length radiograph. I'm happy with the lengths. And then we sear off the coronal aspect of the gutta percha. Just packing it down. So I'm still not happy with that MB2, so I decided to take one last look to remove some of that white calcification. I'm being very delicate in this because I don't want to remove too much. So this is a final look at high power. You can see that we have some of the pulpal floor exposed. You can see that's where the dark is. And let's just change the color of the tissue with some sodium hypochlorite. There is some calcification, and I cannot find that MB2, so I'm going to call it no MB2. And a last look around the world at the 3 canals. One way of reconfirming that there's no MB2 is taking a distal shift radiograph. So I'm going to see the mesial canals, and the mesial canal is centered. So I'm happy.